Hi, Marty.
Hi, Ben.
Good to see you.
You too. Yeah,
How's it going over there?
doing okay. Seem to be surviving. So,
Safe and sound?
I wouldn't say thriving, but we're surviving.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
at least the sun's out today.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for participating in this project. This project I've been calling artists and the art that they live with.
Mhm.
And it's been great to see faces and friends, but it's also great to learn a bit more about um, a piece from their home and what it means to
Mhm.
them. So um, I understand you're showing us Roger Shimomura painting that you have.
I am. It's not in this room, however, but but I will. If you want, I can. I can't move the computer in there, but anyway, we might have to refer to the added visual.
Yeah,
So,
we'll,
because
we'll,
it's a
we'll do
big
our
piece.
magic.
Yeah. So yeah, I've known Roger for 40 some years probably. I've been cutting his hair almost all of those 40 years, and probably at least 35 of them.
Wow.
And I was always fascinated with his work from the very start, and especially once he kicked into using his grandmother's diaries um, from Minidoka. And I thought, what a powerful thing! And he's his work really blossomed when that came through for him. Um, and I've always been fascinated with his cross-cultural references. The dichotomy of being Japanese American and how that has affected him in his social interactions, business interactions. So the series that my piece is from is called the Return of the Yellow Peril, and there were 13 portraits of local friends of his that he did for this series. And he had a preliminary showing at Haskell in probably 1992, I believe. And I think there were 6 or 7 of the portraits done at that point. And he gave an artist talk. And on his way to the podium, I was at this talk. On the way to the podium, I said, I can pose for portraits. Just kind of as a little aside. And he just sort of, did a double take. And I thought, perfect Roger reaction.
Right.
And about probably 6 months later, I was on vacation, and he had called the shop and needed to talk to me. And when I got back from vacation, I called him back and I said, "Is something wrong?" Because I think I had one of my coworkers cut his hair while I was gone or something. I don't remember what the whole thing was, but anyway, I was kind of like, "Why is Roger calling?" He wanted to take some photographs of me to do this portrait, and I went, "What?" I mean, my little aside paid off. So I was number 13 out of 13 portraits that he did. And he wouldn't divulge anything about what was going on with the portrait until it was done. And he unveiled it for me at his studio. And I was like, what? It was just, it was better than I could have expected. I'm sort of thinking of it as a Dorian Gray now, although it's not aging and I am. So, it's from '93, and all the format of all these portraits were, I think they're 6 foot square each one. one of them. So Denise Lowiso is one of them. Subraso, Farah Israfali. There are some real interesting people that he depicted. And what he did was he made sure that each of us was dressed in some sort of Japanese, recognizable Japanese garb. And he derived my body from a samurai print. So I'm wearing this big, bold kimono. And samurais are depicted as double jointed and often one eye is crossed. And I think it's a sign of flexibility and power and stuff. But I had no idea that he was going to be using this, superimposed body for my head. And I am double jointed. And that was the first thing that I saw in this thing. I said, you even got my double jointed elbow in there. So what it is a giant mirror, hand mirror, that's propped up on like a dressing table. There's a comb on one side. His head as a Japanese character is at the bottom of the mirror. So I'm blowing his hair dry is what it is. And then in the background, there's a lot of things from my old house, which there was a cow print futon and the Kit Kat clock, that had the eyes that went back and forth, and a Day of the Dead mask, sugar skull mask, and a flying ear of corn, decaled corn. And those are all reflected in this mirror. And I was just blown away by it when he didn't cross my eye. But he did do the double jointed elbow. That was really cool. So
cat clock and the corn and all of those things sort of in the background, those were actually in your home or your...
They were at that point. Yeah. Cool. So I was just thrilled. I was just amazed that he would even ask to have me as a subject for one of these. But it still gets incredible response when people see it. I had it at the shop for a long time, and I started thinking, because it wasn't up all the time, and I started thinking it's going to get knocked around and I'm going to damage it or something, because it's not easy to move around. So, being the size that it is, so I decided a couple of years ago to bring it home. So we've got nice big walls in our living room, so that's where it resides now, right over our couch. So
that's great.
Another thing, well, not just this piece, but a lot of my pieces that I've collected have to do with either Asian culture or Latin culture. I've always been kind of torn between the two, or drawn to both of them, I should say. I've got some other I've got a lithograph by Benito Huerta that I think Mike Sims might have printed. Mm-hmm. And I've got another Tom Utrecht. Are you familiar with him? He's not Latino, but he has a huge painting in Crystal Bridges, and I've got a small lithograph that came from Lawrence Lithography that it depicts Native American tribe in Wisconsin. Same that Tom Wiseau is. I can't think. Oh my God, I just went blank. Anyway, but he uses iconography from their stories and mythologies and stuff. So anyway, so what I'm trying to do is tie in all these other cultures. I really love, anything that's Asian. I've been fascinated with for a long time, and Roger's just kind of the perfect gateway to that, since he has balanced out his American attributes to his imagery, and so
yeah. And so the piece was shown. Where was was that show at Haskell?
no, the
Where
full
was it?
show ended up being at the Wichita Art Museum.
Okay.
It's at Contemporary Art. I can't remember what the full name of that is, but that's the only time that all 13 of them have been shown together. So.
And then did you have to arm wrestle him to get the paint?
I offered to cut his hair for free for the rest of his life. He said, "No, I think we need to do cash." So I think it took me.
That's great.
It's by far the largest amount I've paid for a painting.
Sure.
But I don't remember how long it took me. I think it took me a year to pay it off.
That's funny.
At that point. So
no free haircuts.
No. He did one time. He came in on December 7th for a haircut. He says, "Don't I get a free haircut?"
God.
Oh, dark humor.
Yep. Well, that's great. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time and sharing sharing the story. Yeah, and so we'll have this up on the internet, and it'll be station.
Fantastic.
Sure. Well, hey, it was great to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Take care.